This is the Washington Times front page for Tuesday, September 9th, 2025. Thanks for joining us. I'm George Gerbo. The Supreme Court has put on hold lower court rulings that said U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement was violating the Constitution when it used race and ethnicity as factors in determining whom to question about their legal status. Stephen Dinan reports Justice Brett Kavanaugh said indicators such as ethnicity cannot be the sole consideration, but can be a relevant factor when considered with others. The ruling delivers a significant win to the Trump administration, which it complained lower courts were intruding into the government's ability to carry out plans for mass deportations. Deployments earlier this year in Los Angeles have drawn legal challenges that are winding through the courts. The terms of a new agreement require NATO members to spend 5% of their gross domestic product on defense, but European leaders are scrambling to meet the new benchmark. Many have agreed to larger budgets in principle, but Joseph Hammond reports the reality is far murkier. European political leaders are hoping in some aspects that President Trump will look the other way. NATO formally committed to a 5% spending target at a summit in The Hague this summer. Approximately 3.5% of that figure is intended to be core defense spending, which includes weapons, salaries, and equipment. A further 1.5% is to be set aside for critical infrastructure, civil defense, and cybersecurity. The man charged with trying to shoot President Trump at a golf course last summer is representing himself at his now underway trial. Susan Ferricchio reports Ryan Routh has requested a wild list of witnesses and has pitched an unorthodox proposal to U.S. District Judge Eileen Cannon. He would face off against the president on the golf course, with Routh accepting his own execution if he lost. Cannon also rejected irrelevant and off-base questions Routh planned to ask prospective jurors. The 59-year-old is facing life in prison for what federal prosecutors say was an attempt to assassinate the president while he played at his golf course in West Palm Beach on September 14th last year. The story of a Ukrainian refugee killed in an unprovoked attack by an ex-convict in Charlotte is drawing national attention. Valerie Richardson and Carrie Pickett report 34-year-old DeCarlos DeJuan Brown Jr. was arrested at the scene on August 22nd and charged with first-degree murder for the stabbing death of 23-year-old Irina Zarutska on Charlotte's light rail system. The crime received only local coverage until Friday, when the Charlotte area transit system released surveillance footage of the assault. Records show Brown had been previously arrested at least 14 times. He served a 5-year prison sentence for robbery with a dangerous weapon and was released in 2020. Months later, he was arrested and accused of assaulting his sister at her home in Charlotte. And finally, social and religious conservatives are trying to overturn the Supreme Court's 2015 ruling that legalized same-sex marriage. Seth MacLachlan reports reversing Obergefell v. Hodges, much like the overturning of Roe v. Wade, would send the issue back to the states to decide. The court extended those marriage rights to same-sex couples under the 14th Amendment's due process protections. Critics have claimed the ruling is legal fiction and a colossal failure. Supporters have hailed the ruling as a victory for equality and the modern family, and are enraged by continued attempts from the extremist right wing to strip them of their rights. Find all today's front page stories at WashingtonTimes.com/front page or on the Washington Times app, and find us wherever you get your podcasts. You can also find us on social media at Wash Times for breaking news, sports, commentary, and more. For the Washington Times, I'm George Gerbo.